Welcome to See the Stories. This is the signature segment of the 3-hour news show. So, one unusual reports, unusual as we heard it, that fresh graduates failing the hiring process due to poor financial credit history, which has gone viral on social media and also on Twitter X.
An ex-user at Cowtoos tweeted about 5 fresh graduate applicants who were rejected by employers because of their poor credit history. They were found to have installed several pay later services and online loan applications on their cell phones, but failed to settle debts. Now, the tweet caught the attention of internet users and left many worrying about applying for new jobs.
Now, this is new. I mean, this is the first time I heard about this, in which credit score became one of the requirements or one of the point of considerations when you apply for a job. Because usually people might consider for your educational background, your experience, and also how you tackle problems in terms of, psychologically. That's why we have some psychotests and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly an interesting time. I mean, apparently there's even a difference between your credit record and your credit score.
Oh, so that's different.
Oh.
Yeah. So the credit score is actually, I think it's the Bank Indonesia score that people are so worried about, because the mortgages, if you want to get a mortgage, for instance, it will take a look at your BE score. And usually pay leaders would also check your credit score, your Bank Indonesia scores, if I'm not mistaken, because you would also, it's going to be based on your tax number, your NPWP, right?
True.
And basically your social security number.
Yeah.
All right.
So certainly really interesting times we're living in, but of course we want to find out more about the importance of credit history in the recruitment process. We're now connected with HR consultant at Crishera Consulting and HR content creator. We have Yova Sianturi. Good afternoon, Yova. Hi, all the way from Bali.
Hi, good evening from Bali. How are you?
Well, we're great, but we're very curious. Because the first thing I heard when this happening, there's a sense of me, because I was a fresh grad before, and if somebody told me they didn't hire me because of my credit score or whatever, because I would be worried I wouldn't be able to pay, right?
Yeah.
Discrimination and things. But why should recruiters actually check our credit history in the recruitment process?
Please enlighten us.
Yeah.
Honestly, coming from human resource background, to me, this is also new, and this is, to me, is a gray area because, I mean, the way I see it, credit score is personal financial issue, and company doesn't have the right to dig deep into that. So I think it's still in the gray area. We don't have the regulations yet. We don't know how to do it yet, and people might think that might be discriminating. But we need it. It's important, especially nowadays with the pay later, and a lot of young people, the fresh graduates, they see on social media, they get influenced from their friends, they need to buy this and that, and sometimes whatever they buy on the online platform is what they need for their job, right? So they can't help it. They do that, and it sounds easy to do it in the pay later, so they do that. But when they cannot settle their credit, it's going to make them look bad, and then definitely it is impacting their application. So the way it impacts the application is that it fails the company to build trust on them if the company find out. That's number one.
Okay.
And then the company needs to do the credit check because they want to ensure that the management is responsible for the company's finance reputation, because it is a reputation.
Can
right?
I have a little bit of a follow-up question. Is that kind of information accessible to public? How do companies, because like I understand now that just having our KTP numbers is also having our NPWP at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So, but is this information actually available for public, or only certain companies have access to it? And what kind of companies or what kind of institutions would have access to that?
I think only certain companies have access to that. If you are in banking, I think it's very easy for banking people to check on it. But I don't think it should be for public because, again, it is personal it is confidential information
Yeah.
for every individual. It shouldn't be in public.
Well, it's too bad that we don't know what kind of company the applicants were actually applying to. But in that sense, from an HR point of view, are there any correlations between an applicant's credit history and working performance? Because this seemed to be, that's a missing link.
I would think they would need the job and perform extra hard to be able to afford it.
Exactly. To actually pay the debt.
Yes and no. To me, whatever your credit score is, it shouldn't affect your job performance. But I do have a story for this. I had this employee, just call her Lara. Lara did a pay letter, something like that, and couldn't settle. This was like a long time ago before the pandemic. And then every day I got a call from debt collector and telling that Lara needs to pay. And I keep telling the debt collector the same thing, that it's not my problem. You have to settle it with Lara. You don't call here. You know, so that's why nowadays some companies told their employee that, hey, if you want to apply for credit card, you don't give the company's phone number, because the companies don't want to be held accountable. If, if they want to apply for anything like credit card, the bank needs to confirm with the company if this employee actually works there, and if the employee cannot pay, then they're gonna call the HR or the company. So I do have this issue, and when I see Lara, she is not focused on her job. She cannot do anything good, basically. So she basically ruined her performance, and she ends up doing outside business activity that is violating the company's rule. So she ends up being terminated at that time. So yes, there is a correlation. It will affect your job performance. It's not for everybody, but when the moment someone gets a loan, have financial issue, it as well affects personal and professional, right?
Okay, so I have a follow-up question as well. So if that being said, the company would actually check on the credit history and also all the performance and all, but would that be fair from an HR point of view? Would that be fair for the applicant to be, to be rejected in the light of her personal or his personal record being exposed to the company?
Where there's a gray area, we don't even know you're supposed to be able to access it or not.
No, I think that's not fair. I think companies shouldn't have access to it. I think the only way to do it is through background check and to do, to conduct a good interview on your applicant. So I think that's the best way company doing it. I don't think company has to go beyond to check everything, right? Because at some point, poor or good financial record doesn't justify someone's performance. They can be good at their job, right? And when they do that, they apparently, unfortunately, they have bad records on their credit score. So some people just cannot help it.
Right. Okay. So, but now we want to know. So, are there any industries or job positions in which an applicant's credit history may be more applicable and justifiable as a hiring criteria?
Yeah. Good question.
Yes, like my job as an HR. Or anybody who works in financial, anybody access to company funds, or inventory management, or anybody in executive or senior management role, because these people, either they have the power to make important decisions for the company, or they have access to anything that is confidential for the company. So it's easy for them to do the fraud, right? When they have financial issue, they have the habit, they have the behavior, and it's easy for them to do the fraud. So basically, the objective of company doing that is to minimize the risk of their employee doing fraud. And it's actually a lot. if you basically, if you have a job like me, like going to one company to other company and do audit, you will be surprised how many fraud happening in a lot of companies.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, it is usually, fraud usually happens either out of desperation or just pure greed.
Yeah.
It's either one. But I have a bit of a question because you mentioned this is a little bit of a gray area right now. In terms of the trend, where do you see this going? Is there actually some kind of law that prevents, that protects applicants from discrimination and of this kind or not?
There is a law in Indonesia, labor law, talking about discrimination, but it's not mentioning about this one specifically. So yes, about pregnancy status, about racial, gender, religion, yes, but not about credit score in particular.
Okay, so because this is something that intriguing for me.
Yeah.
Let's say the credit score being the cause of discrimination in the hiring process in the case that we read in Twitter X, in social media. Won't this be the same thing when you apply to other things are prone to discrimination? Let's say HIV/AIDS, people with HIV/AIDS, people with disabilities, because they're often getting this kind of discrimination as well. Would credit score be something like that from your point of view in the working places, in the hiring process?
I think, of course, a lot of people will see this as a discrimination because, I mean, let's face it, financial issue or a poor record, poor credit checks is only happen for people with in certain group of people with certain economy background and life, right? So it doesn't really happen to a lot of people. And when one thing only happen to certain group of people, and company tend to pay more attention to that and be careful or be cautious about it, then yes, people definitely will see it as discrimination. However, it is important for companies to keep everything fair, to treat everybody the same way. So, because otherwise this will make a bad reputation on the company itself.
Okay. So as somebody who's experienced with HR, though, I just have a question. Have you ever done this before?
Credit check for someone?
Yeah.
Never. I don't think I have to. I don't think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
I don't think it's needed. I think, like I said earlier, what I can do is to do background check and to do background check double and to see the behavior through the interview.
Is it accessible for you?
Sorry?
Is it accessible for you?
The background check?
The credit score, the credit
score
history.
Oh, no, it's not accessible for me. In my industry, no, it's not accessible.
All right.
All right, so this is...
But looking at this issue,
Yeah.
next thing, I think what's going to happen, because right now, employee can check their credit score through an app, right?
Yeah.
Then the company will ask them to log into that app and then screenshot their credit score and then write a consent for the employee saying that, that you are okay, that we ask you for this credit check, and that's how the company will get candidates.
But that's also
So that's-
discriminatory, right?
Yeah.
It's like blackmail. Because if
Yes.
they don't give consent, that they don't screenshot, that they have no chance to actually, to actually
Getting
get
the
a
job.
Yeah, it's like the first screening, right?
I love it.
Okay, I know this might be out of your expertise, but can these applicants who got rejected filing a lawsuit over their exposed credit history?
I think that's too far. I think what they can do is go to the labor department and report this. Just like when they don't get their right from the company, they can also go to the labor department
I see.
to discuss about this. So yes, so I think the first thing to do is to report or discuss about this to the labor department because they are more responsible for labor rights.
Okay. All right. Well, guys,
It's
it's so
certainly really
serious. Like,
Yeah.
I'm somehow
learning so
feeling
much.
a little bit relieved that I'm not currently looking for a job.
yeah. So apart from resume and credit history, are there any other documents that recruiters must check during the hiring process?
Okay, what's a background check for an HR person?
Yeah.
Yes, the background check. So the background check is very useful for everything. You can verify their salary, you can verify their employment history, their work ethic, their performance, a lot of things. So background check actually help company a lot. And for my career in the corporate for almost 9 years, it was really helping me to really select candidates.
Yeah, apparently we have some networking connections problem with Yova.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah, the
okay?
pollution's getting.
Okay, Yova, you're back.
I
You're
need
back.
to be in Bali with you right now.
Okay, you're back. So, Yova, you mentioned about some items on background check. So, how can a recruiter access that information? Is it by getting a contact with the previous companies or previous previous superiors or social media probably?
Yes. It's very easy. Yes, it can be from social media or on LinkedIn. But if you see someone's resume, you see where they work, and you just find a telephone number for that. Ask them to connect to HR, and then you talk to the HR, not the boss.
Okay.
HR. So then you get the information. You will not get it. Sometimes you don't get the exact information that you want, but you will get the idea, the insight of how this candidate performing in their previous company.
Okay, you can hear from the tone.
Yeah.
They talk about.
The tone they're
Yes, a lot of
talking in.
people don't tell you what it is exactly.
Okay, but did you say, yeah, he's okay?
I mean, some companies ask for references, right? Does that count?
Yes, that counts. Reference counts.
All right. So we got lots of insights from you
Yeah.
regarding this matter because
Hot topic.
Yeah, this is a very hot topic because people they got divided.
Yeah.
They quarreled on social media, mainly in Twitter X. Because of this, some people might see this as discrimination. Some people might see it from the employer point of view, recruiter point of view. And finally, we got something from you as well. Yova Sianturi from Bali, Indonesia. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
insights.
Thank
And please
you.
do take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, that's certainly
Yeah, I still think my financial problem is my problem.
Exactly.
It's not your problem. I need the job from you,
Yes,
so I can pay my
exactly.
financial.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's where discrimination comes in, right? And I've never heard about this before.
No, this is the first time.
I mean, I would understand if you want to get a mortgage, you want to get a loan, and then they would check your credit history, and then they would approve or disapprove. That's understandable.
Yeah.
But a job, should be something completely separate, right?
Yeah. All right. If you're curious about your credit history and score, you can actually check it by yourself on a website. Let's take a look.
You can access edepku.ojk.go.id and click register, then put the data required on the website, including name and address. Click next and follow the instructions until you reach the final step, which is status permohonan. OJK will then send the data to your email in 24 hours.
Now I want to check mine.
Me too.
Because me personally, I don't think I have problems with my credit history or my credit score. But I would love to know if the data says otherwise.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so you can actually check. These are actually the steps that you need to follow if you want to check your credit history.
You know, the one thing that really scares me is, what if this data leaks?
Yeah.
Well, it has already been leaked, if I'm mistaken.
Because a lot of people get a lot of really weird, you know, messages and pranks, but they must get our numbers from somewhere.
Offers.
Right? Offers. They must. And these are from like individual WhatsApp numbers. I've been getting some of them. Like, where did you get my number from? I don't even need that.
Have you got this?
Yeah. Like, do you need a job? I'm like, no, thanks. But I didn't answer. I just.
But you know, interesting thing for me is I got an offer from an online gambling sites. Now,
how? Here in Indonesia?
In Indonesia. That's illegal.
Right.
So the moment I asked her, it was a her. At the moment I asked her, where did you get my number from? And then she vanished.
Yeah, I love that.
She ghosted.
I always ask whenever I get spams like that, like, where do you get my number from?
And then they ghosted.
Oh no, this one time they didn't though. So they said like, we're this marketing agency, and then you check out, and then you Google this marketing agency, and like, you know what's really funny is you open their website, it's just one landing page, and a lot of the landing page are still like templates, like Canva templates that they didn't even bother to change.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, right? You can do better than that.
All right. Well, lots of things that you need to be cautious about now that online things are actually getting crazy and stuff. And See the Source will continue after the break. Do not go.